are lots of headlines out there about Angelina Jolie. Um, Many quotes, many articles. So what's true and what's false. So
I'm
can we
ready.
clear the air? Are we ready?
Hey friend, welcome to my channel, karinealourde. We talk about everything and I'm karinealourde. Please be sure to turn on your notification bell so you can always know when I post a new upload. Now let's get into this video. Today we are talking about the iconic Angelina Jolie. Her name alone means beautiful, okay? And she is beautiful. Jolie has been cited by many magazines as one of the most powerful and influential people in American entertainment industry. She has also been cited as the world's most beautiful woman by various media outlets. And do you guys know that there was a time where many people was taking photos of her to their plastic surgeons and telling them, this is exactly how I want you to make me look. And her lips are an iconic staple. After embarking on her own career, she earned a reputation as a wild child, though. She makes headlines all the time for her fascination, in the past, of course, because she has since changed a little bit more and toned down. But she's made headlines because of her fascination with blood and knives, experiences with substance use, and her sensual private life, particularly her going both ways, liking both men and women, and her interest in sadomasochism. I can't say those words on YouTube, but she's just into some really dark stuff. My favorite quote from her is, "I say things that other people might go through. That's what artists should do. Throw things out there and not be perfect and not have answers for anything and see if people understand." We are going to get into all of those things, including her alleged little love tryst with her brother where people accused her of incest, if you know what I mean. We're going to get into all of that, the Brad Pitt relationship and scandal, just everything. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of her favorite things as well as her beauty secret. Her favorite color is black, and I can see that. Come on. Her favorite food are Cheerios and McDonald's. So a pretty simple girl, if you ask me. Her hobbies are reading. She loves to read and indulge in reading. And according to her dermatologist, she doesn't have like an extensive beauty routine. Her dermatologist, Dr. Rhonda Rand, states that she wears minimal makeup and never skips her skincare routine, which includes never going without sunscreen or moisturizer, and she doesn't go crazy with treatments. She doesn't have any kind of plastic look because she doesn't do anything drastic. Not saying that she doesn't have any plastic surgery or anything, because we have noticed some changes in her face and features over time. I mean, obviously, right? But for the most part, with her beauty routine, she doesn't really do much or go into excess. Now, let's jump right into her childhood. She was born on June 4th, 1975 in LA, Los Angeles, California, and she was already born into fame. So she has famous parents. Her parents were actors Jon Voight, which she had an estranged relationship with, though now they since have kind of mended. And her mother was Marceline Bertrand, and she was closest with her mother. On her father's side, Jolie is German and Slavic descent, and I can see that in the structure face, while her mother was of French-Canadian ancestry. She recalls a pretty unhappy home where her father just didn't know how to be faithful to her mother. He just would not stop cheating. And because of this, Jolie grew pretty resentful of her father and all the pain that he was putting her mother through, and was mostly raised by her mother.
Like her parents, she wanted to be an actress. Marceline was living on the first floor of this building. She couldn't bear to see her daughter every day.
Angelina, when she was a baby, was effectively abandoned by her mother.
So much she looked like her father. Instead, she confined the girl to a studio at the back of the fourth floor of the building, where nannies took turns to keep watch on her.
Angelina, alone in a crib in a white room with white carpet, white walls, nothing to play with.
The child spent the first months of her life there, without maternal affection, and with nothing to do but watch the sky through the window.
Her and her brother, Angelina has a famous brother also, they kind of just attached themselves to their mother. Jolie's mother raised her as a Catholic, but did not require her to go to church or anything like that. And as a child, she watched movies with her mom, and that's what really inspired her to be an actress, not really her father. So Jolie first attended Beverly Hills High School. Jolie was bullied often in school because her mother was not as wealthy as the families of the other kids. You know, she lived on a pretty modest coins. As beautiful as we see Angelina is now, as a teen, she could not see her own beauty, and neither could those that were around her. She had a thin frame, she wore glasses and had braces. And though many women want to emulate her now, she was actually teased for that same beauty. She became rebellious and was into dark punk look, wearing all black, and taking a liking with playing with knives around that era of her life. And did you guys know she dropped out of acting classes to go master embalming? Yeah, which is basically the art of preserving the dead. Yeah, that's what embalming is. Yeah, she was into that. She soon wanted to become a funeral director of all things, so she was very fascinated with the dead.
She was an incredibly precocious girl. I mean, when you think about it, she was taking acid, heroin when she was 13 or 14. She was living with a boy at 14. She owned her first house when she was 19. She was married when she was 20. She's packed a lot in. Had a fascination with blood and death. She wanted to be a funeral director when she was a kid. She was a goth when she was 12 or 13.
I went through heavy, darker times and I survived them. I didn't die young, so I'm very lucky. Too many dangerous things, too many chances taken, too far. For many reasons, I shouldn't be here.
You used to carry with you a little butterfly knife.
Sometimes a butterfly, I carry, different types of knives I've carried. Yeah,
Do you
butterfly
like it?
knives certainly. They're fun to play with because there is an art to them, and then the movement of them. And other knives are just for protection, and there's something to being protected. I still do carry a knife, and because when I was a little girl, of course, I love vampires like every little girl.
Plays with knives and has a fascination with impalement.
And you practice with these, I guess they're called butterfly knives, right? You like to practice with them or sort of play around with them?
Let's see. Just kind of like that.
And who do you do this
Do it in
to?
the chair.
Really? Oh,
Her rebellion didn't stop there, though. At 14, her mother allowed Angie to have her teen boyfriend move in with them, okay? That one was pretty interesting. And she's quoted with saying this: "It was the smartest thing my mother could have done because this way we weren't hanging out in a park together. We lived like a married couple for 2 years. I was either going to be reckless on the streets with my boyfriend or he was going to be with me in my bedroom with my mom in the next room. She made the choice, and because of it, I continued to go to school every morning and explored my first relationship in a safe way." How do you guys feel about that? If you're a parent, would you consider doing that with your child? Kind of like, okay, well, just have your boyfriend move in. Or I know some people, some modern parents, I have friends that literally allow this with their kids that are young, like people that I know. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know about me.
At 14, to keep her off the streets, her mother agreed to let her live at home with her punk boyfriend.
She tells me that Angie's boyfriend is going to move in. And oh, by the way, we're moving out of the master bedroom so they can sleep in the master bedroom.
At 16, after the relationship was ended, Jolie did graduate from high school and she rented her own apartment before going back to theater school and kind of getting back on track. But despite her mother's support, Angelina was still very troubled in her youth. She started to self-harm whenever her depression started to consume her. And this is what she said about it: "For some reason, the ritual of having cut myself and feeling the pain, maybe feeling alive, feeling some kind of release, it was somehow therapeutic to me." End quote. That wasn't the only way she harmed herself either. She soon lost her appetite and just rejected food altogether, and she had struggles falling asleep at night. Because of this, she started experimenting with various substances. Soon at 19, she tried to take her own life, and at 22, she hired a hitman to take her own life. Yeah, it was that serious for her. When she was just 24, she experienced a nervous breakdown and was admitted for 72 hours to UCLA Medical Center's psychiatric ward.
She was taking acid, and heroin. She was cutting herself with knives.
For many reasons, I shouldn't be here.
Franklin Meyer was her dealer in New York in the mid-90s.
As she just showed up at my door with another actor. At the time I was selling, and someone had recommended her to me, but I don't remember who that was. I started to see her regularly, maybe a couple times a week if she was in town.
At her dealers, Angelina participates in very serious types of conversations.
Yeah, she's explaining why she likes S&M. Right?
Here, she's talking about accessories to be placed on the nipples. Thanks to this dark period, Angelina earned her image of and deviance.
She was an incredibly precocious girl.
2 years later, after adopting her first child, though, Jolie found stability in her life, later stating, "I knew once I committed to Maddox, I would never be self-destructive again." So having children really kind of slowed down all of those tots for her. Now, as far as her career goes, Jolie began her professional film career in 1993 when she played her first leading role in a direct-to-video science fiction sequel, Cyborg 2, and the rest was history. She basically went on to become this superstar, okay? But did you know she had a difficult time finding roles before, because every time she'd go on auditions, the directors would tell her that she was just too dark for them. Not in skin, but like in personality. They wanted her to be like this softer feminine.
When I first started auditioning, I tried to be the girl next door, and I would go to the audition and try to
1995, at 20 years old, with hovering doubt about her ability to break out, she decided on a dangerous and radical strategy.
But over time, her dark nature started to be an appeal, and we see many people like, oh my goodness, I forgot the young actress in Twilight, what her name was. But you started seeing more actresses being more comfortable being in their dark nature because it started to be a little bit more glamorized. And you can thank Jolie for that, okay? So another contributing factor to her controversial image were tabloid rumors of incest that began when Jolie, after winning her Oscar for Girl Interrupted, she went and kissed her brother on the lips. And she said, I'm so in love with my brother right now. Y'all saw them clips all over TMZ?
In 2000, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress. In front of the world media, she pulled her brother on stage and passionately kissed him on the mouth. Some have dubbed this strange moment the vampire kiss.
At the time that Angelina kissed her brother, we all thought it was beyond strange. I wouldn't say bad. Angelina does nothing without calculating it. She calculated that kiss to get her name out. She knew she wanted to be famous.
Doesn't it bother you when you hear the lingering questions, the lingering gossip about you and your brother?
Despite all these accomplishments, for many, it's the image of her kissing her brother at the Academy Awards for which she's often remembered and taunted.
Yes, because it's affected my relationship with my brother, I don't think there's a person out there that actually believes I slept with my brother. There's not one person that really thinks that's true. Kids from divorced families sometimes are extremely close. Their interpretation of it is from their own sick thoughts.
Perhaps it's Jolie's frank remarks about her past that have fueled this kind of talk. She has openly admitted to bisexuality, a fascination for S&M.
I always felt a little strange or different, and I wasn't laughing.
You're very open about your sexuality. You've talked about it. People have confused that. People have thought that you are promiscuous.
I've been married twice to two of them. Half the people I've slept with in my life I was married to.
She dismissed the rumors, saying it was disappointing that something so beautiful and pure could be turned into a circus. But sis, you had to know how people would receive that, And I want you guys to comment below. I'm even against parents kissing their kids on the lips. That's just me. I'm not saying you're wrong if you do that. But I don't really even like that. I'm not comfortable with it. Just me. Maybe it's just what others have gone through, maybe trauma and stuff that's like that. But I'm even against that after a certain age. You know what I mean? After a certain age, it's not okay. I understand, newborn and all that. But even then. But your siblings, do you guys think kissing your siblings is okay? Not okay necessarily, hey, yeah, go do it, but you don't really see a problem with it. It's a way of showing love. And after a certain age, I do know that there are siblings in their 30s and late 20s that would sleep still in the same bed together, that are brother and sister, close up, hugged up, cuddled up. I don't know. To me, maybe my mind is just twisted and, whatever. But I guess in some cases it can be innocent. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think, and if you've seen the clips, I'm not going to put it on here just in case YouTube want to play. They're very sensitive about these things. But if you've seen the clips of her kissing her brother, would you say it's innocent? And she did explain that as children of divorced parents, she and James, her brother, relied on one another for emotional support. So it was more so an emotional attachment. But aside from that, she did also face controversy for coming out in the open about her bisexuality at an earlier age. When asked about her attraction to women, she said, "Of course, if I fell in love with a woman tomorrow, would I feel that it's okay to want to kiss and touch her? If I fell in love with her, absolutely, yes." End quote. But as far as relationships go, during filming of Hackers 1995, Jolie had a romance with actor Johnny Lee Miller, which was her first lover since that, relationship she had with the guy in her teens. She attended her wedding, though. Here's the controversy. She wore all black rubber pants and a white t-shirt. And guess what she did? She wrote the groom's name in her own blood on the t-shirt. Yeah. She was going through it at that time. I don't know. Although the relationship ended the following year, Jolie remained on good terms with Miller, whom she called a solid man and solid friend. And prior to her marriage to Miller, though, Jolie began a relationship with a model and actress, Jenny Shimizu, on the set of Foxfire. And she later said, "I would probably have married Jenny if I had married my husband. I fell in love with her the first second I saw her."
After the kiss, contradiction, as Angelina began experimenting on another register, her sexuality, with actress Jenny Shimizu, his co-star in the film Foxfire.
She has never been less than open about her relationships with both men and women.
I just suddenly looked at a woman and felt those things that I normally felt for men, and I understood, and I had a beautiful time.
She declared herself homosexual, but she was also married and collecting men.
Probably her most controversial aside, well, all her relationships were controversial, but more, well, no, the Brad Pitt was even more controversial, but this one was pretty controversial, and comment below if you remember it, but it was her courtship with Billy Bob Thornton, okay? And they got married on May 5th, 2000 in Las Vegas, and they were always in the tabloids for some mess. Some stuff was going on. They wore each other's blood and these vows around their necks as necklaces. They were always showing PDA and doing the most, if you remember that era. And I remember just like, they really had a strange relationship to the media. And so because of that, there were the headlines a lot, and paparazzi really had a field day trying to catch them off guard.
Billy Bob Thornton, another co-star. Their relationship would produce plenty of scandal, chock full of public displays, and tumultuous passion. They tattooed each other's names.
I have his name twice. One is in a very private place, and one is because I'm proud of it and I like to see it every day.
A tattoo in my private parts, that's gonna hurt. That is a major...
No, it feels strangely kind of good.
Does it feel... What? It felt good?
It's a you get a tattoo, it's a vibrating.
Ah, okay.
She carried a vial of his blood around her neck.
Some people like diamonds around their necks or things like that. I think that's beautiful, and it makes me... it's his life. We're never going to separate, so it was our way of saying to each other, we're together forever. We're so in love. We're best friends. We kind of signed our life away to each other, and legally. And with blood, that there's no possible way anybody can separate or walk away from this. And just did different things to confirm that. But not that we needed to, but we just wanted to.
You wear a vial containing his blood.
That's his.
4 drops of his blood.
Yes. You're thinking about people touching it, actually.
No, you don't want people... Okay, I won't touch it. Okay, I won't touch it. And why do you wear?
Because it's my husband's blood.
But they're divorced. They did eventually divorce, and it was finalized on May 27, 2003. And when she was asked about the sudden divorce, like how it happened so quick out of nowhere, she said that it took me by surprise too, because overnight we totally changed. I think one day we just had nothing in common, and it's scary, but I think it can happen when you get involved and you don't know yourself yet, end quote. So she was just still growing, and that happened, and she just realized, I don't really have much in common with this man. Now let's jump into the most controversial of all relationship, which is her relationship with Brad Pitt. That one's a whole mess. So she was involved in this scandal when she was accused of causing the divorce of Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston in October 2005. So they met on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They fell in love. They started wooing each other and, the whole nine. You guys know the story by now. And they, of course, denied everything, where she said, "To be intimate with a married man when my own father cheated on my mother is not something I could forgive. I could not look at myself in the morning if I did that. I wouldn't be attracted to a man who would cheat on his wife." But unfortunately, numerous evidence, it did, say what you want, because they did deny it, but then they came out with her being pregnant, announcing her pregnancy. So, comment below what you think about that.
It was only on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, shot in 2004, that their destinies collided. In 2005, Brad Pitt left his wife to live with Angelina. They make the most glamorous couple on the planet. Their appearances cause riots. They're referred to as Brangelina. In just a few years, she and Brad Pitt have formed a kind of ideal family, composed of children of all colors. with 3 children adopted from poor countries and 3 biological children.
And they had a 12-year-long relationship. The couple were dubbed Brangelina. They were at the cover of every magazine, and she was really in love. She looked happy. They had PDA too, but it was more controlled. That's when Brangelina, well, Brad Pitt didn't really get much of the hate, but Angelina got a lot of hate from a lot of women. That kind of, it was like the Jackie Marilyn Monroe type of vibe here, where it was like she was seen as Marilyn Monroe and Jennifer Aniston was a Jackie Kennedy, and she was just a scandalous woman that ripped apart Jennifer Aniston's marriage. And a lot of people was not letting Angelina get away with that. So she received a lot of hate and a lot of backlash, and she had to do a lot of damage control for that. Brad, not so much. And it was kind of like people weren't really rooting for them. Like, there were some people that shipped them and rooted for them, but they weren't. So if you were in that era, like, comment below what was your thoughts. Were you team Brangelina or were you team Jennifer Aniston? Were you team Jennifer Aniston? I definitely was siding with Jennifer Aniston, and Brad Pitt will say, and many other people that's dealt with Jennifer Aniston, that she just wouldn't even hurt a fly. She just was so unproblematic, never was in the tabloids, and she handled it so gracefully also. So I was team her, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys believe Angelina where she said they never had an affair off the set, like while he was married. Do you guys believe her? Comment below your thought. They became known as one of Hollywood's most glamorous couples, always on the red carpets and magazine covers. And Jolie and Pitt married on August 23rd on 2014. So after 2 years of marriage, unfortunately, the couple separated on September 15th, 2016. So it didn't last too long. And it was pretty scandalous. There was like custody battles. There was like accusations made from Angelina about Brad being violent. And a lot of people came out to like, they didn't want to believe Angelina because of that. Even if she was telling the truth or is telling the truth, you know, people just kind of dismissed her because they already vilified her in the tabloids as like this man-stealing woman that we shouldn't believe, and Brad Pitt could never do that. But it was a whole mess with Brad dealing with the adopted children, kind of being violent with them, etc. And Angelina wanted full custody, and she cited how he dealt with the children as reason for her wanting a divorce and things like that also. And I want you guys to comment your thoughts on that. But she did have 3 adopted kids and then 3 children, you know, biological children with Pitt. Now, aside from that, her charities, she has changed her reputation completely with her charities, okay? And she's done a lot of works over the years to kind of stay low-key, stay out of the limelight, not really talk, give her opinion on things. And she's just been like minding her business.
The film was shot in Cambodia. When she arrived in the country, Angelina was shocked to see the misery around her. She had lived her whole life among stars, and suddenly she fell to earth.
I think it completely changed her perception of the world and realized, you know, life is not Hollywood.
So sometimes the simple pleasures of life and not having very much tends to keep a family together in a way that I think we can learn from, that I certainly have learned from. Many times you come to the poorest countries, like a country like this, and you find that families really spend time together. They work together, they hold on to whatever little they have, and it binds them.
Here she's in Chad, where she went to meet and assist refugees in makeshift camps. She soothes children and comforts mothers. It was a discreet and respectable woman who stepped up to the podium to denounce the violence of war. More and more, she finances trips with her own personal funds. In just 4 years, Jolie has become a major figure in the humanitarian community. She tirelessly travels the globe to help ease suffering on all continents.
How can we relax in the safety and security of our own homes, knowing that people are out there somewhere forced to leave theirs, that somewhere right now they are sleeping in the dirt with their children, unable to find food and shelter?
So some of the charities that she's involved in is the Afghanistan Relief Organization, Alliance for the Lost Boys of Sudan, Cancer Schmancer Movement, Care to Learn, Cinema for Peace, Clinton Global Initiative, Daniel Pearl Foundation, Direct Change, Doctors Without Borders, Global Action for Children, Halo Trust, Human Rights Watch, Jolie Pitt Foundation, Kids in Need of Defense, and the Millennium Promise, and so much more, okay? She's just known for her good deeds. She's always getting accolades for that. And a lot of people really thought it was more like a PR thing, but I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. I do think a lot of the work that she does is genuine because she has immersed herself in it so much. And when you've had such a dark, dark past, dark childhood, as you grow, you start to learn from those mistakes. Like a lot of those people do a 180 and change completely and just know what to focus on more, you know? But it's funny how her reputation still suffers from this relationship with Brad Pitt, while, you know, Brad Pitt is still thriving out here. He's not suffering much. We still love us some Brad Pitt. He has that movie Bullet Train out, I think, and he's just been thriving, and Angie has just been more low-key. A lot of women want to know how to have that dark sensuality. I'm not saying go to the extreme. Like, she was pretty extreme, you know, not eating, that punk rocker thing, the insomnia, all of those things. It was pretty extreme, but that's from having a troubled childhood. But a lot of people are attracted, just like women are attracted to men that are troubled, that are going through it. They want to be the savior and things like that. A lot of men are also very attracted to those type of women that have like this dark, that is troubled, that needs help, and that they just want to give them love and change them and turn them into this wholesome housewife type of thing. Just like women have that desire to do it for men. Science, it's even scientific. Maybe I'll do a video on my other channel breaking that down if you're interested, of why people are just attracted to troubled people, period. But you don't have to necessarily be troubled to have. And the number 2 ways that you can do that, number 1 is just master the art of mystery. And how you do that is not talking as much about your life, being cautious of the details you give. Angelina never really spoke on things. Even when she was getting dragged and canceled, she didn't really speak. She just kind of like let it be. And she'll only speak with things that she really cared about, like her brother. You know, when that was happening was obviously hurtful, so she came out and spoke on it. But she typically let it be dust on her shoulders and just continued on. And she doesn't really reveal too much about her life. You may know about her childhood because of her brother, her dad, and all of those things, putting her business out there. But you won't really see her putting her own business out there. And she's really good with the art of denial. So naturally, just moving in silence will naturally just give you that appeal. And the second way, of course, is it's very simple. You're going to be like, duh, but it's just the whole look. You don't have to be troubled, but you can look troubled. And how that makes sense is just like darker clothes. There's people like when you see someone like Steve Jobs or CEOs and big powerful people, the power color that they'll typically have them wear is black. Okay. Steve Jobs always wore the black turtleneck, and you'll find when people want to scam people and they want to look powerful and stuff, they'll wear a lot of black or dark colors, and they'll keep themselves basically in neutral dark colors. It gives of power. Naturally, black is a power color. So darker hair with women, the dark hair, okay, it gives you that also. And Angie loves to have her hair darker. She has highlights and stuff like that every now and then, but her typical go-to color is just the dark hair. She doesn't really wear dark makeup when you see her, but she has like a bold red lip, and she'll have more of a natural makeup. You don't have to do a lot of colors and stuff like that with your makeup. Keep it basic, maybe a bold red lip, but keep your makeup basic with dark hair and kind of just wear dark and embody that. It's just the look. Get the look. Period. Plain and simple, and remain mysterious. Because I know many of you guys requested that with the Angelina Jolie video in the past, and I was just like, yeah, that's not much to it, because even though she has since transformed and is no longer with that, you know, living in that dark past, especially since she had Maddox, she adopted Maddox, she still has that simply because she still has the mannerisms, and also she still wears black often and still carries herself in a mysterious way. Now, when it comes to the religion of Angelina Jolie is not religious, but identifies as spiritual, believing in a universal power or something greater than humanity. She was raised Catholic, but has stated that she doesn't follow a specific religion, instead emphasizing humanitarian values like compassion, tolerance, and human rights, which she finds in many spiritual traditions. Angelina Jolie gave the following statement from an AV Club interview, and I quote, she said, "For some people," because they asked her, the question was, "Do you believe that there is a God?" She said, "For some people, I hope so for them, for the people who believe in it. I hope so. There doesn't need to be a God for me. There's something in people that's spiritual, that's godlike. I don't feel like doing things just because people say things, but I also don't really know if it's better to just not believe in anything either, end quote. So at least in 2000, Angelina Jolie had no specific religious beliefs, didn't personally feel the need for a God, and disliked authority-based religion, but was not willing to go so far as atheism and express hope that there might be a God for the sake of those who dedicate their lives to religious belief. Angelina Jolie regards Buddhism as an important part of her son's Cambodian heritage and considers him a Buddhist. She has said, and I quote, "We spend a lot of time at our house in Cambodia, and I'm learning about Buddhism, and I'm teaching him what I can. He spent a lot of time in temples with monks, and he's learning," end quote. Now, this part was necessary because now we're going to go into the witchcraft allegations that is pretty bizarre, and I've never heard before until doing this video. I didn't know that this was happening. So comment below if you knew this, and what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? So a Los Angeles woman has accused Angelina Jolie, and the woman has remained anonymous. I cannot find her, but every source has just been citing her as a Los Angeles woman, okay? So the Los Angeles woman has accused Angelina Jolie of performing witchcraft and making hypnotic threats against her, which is like hypnotic threats, like to control her, put her into hypnosis, and, you know, take her will from her, basically. See, and this woman sought a restraining order. The bizarre lawsuit alleges that Jolie has been harassing the victim through multiple people and has even fantasized about committing murder. The woman, who claims Jolie has stalked her homes since 2010, is also requesting compensation for legal fees. She accuses Jolie of causing hallucinations and delusions related to schizophrenia, as well as experiencing auditory hallucinations and other symptoms. And according to the UK-based outlet, additionally, the woman claimed that the Hollywood A-lister was also allegedly aiding a child trafficker. I can't, you know, YouTube like to mess with me, but when you're in traffic, okay, let's just say that she was aiding those people that are in traffic, but with children, connected to other harassment-related crimes, citing her father as a witness who eventually saw some of the alleged behaviors. So the father was a witness that saw the behaviors that occurred. And this person, the woman, according to sources, is not like a regular, everyday, average person like you or me, right? It's somebody in that industry, basically, someone that's pretty connected, you know, let's just say that. The plaintiff went as far as accusing the mother of 6 of murdering other people's child. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. But she basically accused Angelina Jolie of wanting to or taking the life of people's children. Okay. So, yeah. She also stated when they asked her, "What do you want to get out of this lawsuit?" She said one sentence. She said this: "Stop committing unlawful acts for traffic, being in traffic." You get what I'm saying? "Acknowledge the fact that people won't tolerate being victimized by your behavior," end quote. The woman also seeks $300 in fees and a restraining order. So the $300, that's what I tell you, the woman, it's not like shakedown. It wasn't a shakedown. It's not like she was trying to sue Angelina for millions of dollars. Literally, she only requested the $300 fees just to get her lawyer. And you might say, why was her lawyer so cheap? You know, when people have lawyers on retainer, etc., this and that, they're already paying, and probably the fees is just to show up in court because I already had you on retainer or whatever. So it didn't, the more I looked into the case, and you guys can go do your own research into the case if you want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't have proof for, or no one has proofs for, so I don't want to just mention. Kind of like with my left eye video, people were saying, "Oh, you didn't mention this about Dr. Sebi and this," and I'm like, yeah, but there was no evidence of this except like rumors on like Quora or Lipstick Alley or something. And if her own family denied these claims and her herself is saying why she went on the retreat, I can't just come on here and, you know, speak something that's, you know. So with Angelina Jolie, I'm going to do the same thing, because you can go down the rabbit hole on like TikTok, etc., and online on Google. You can go down the rabbit hole and investigate yourself. But from my consensus, what I've gathered in my personal opinion, that's not fact. Allegedly, this woman was not trying to shake her down. She didn't want to put her face out there and be visible to people, and she wasn't trying to sue her for $300 million. She made one statement: I want her to stop what she's doing with children and with, playing in traffic, let's just say that, and then just pay the $300 fees that it costs for my lawyer to get there, but to stop harassing me also. It was kind of like a threat to Angelina that this is how far I'm willing to go so you could stop harassing me. The anonymous woman has requested that Jolie cover her legal fees, totaling $300, like I stated. The case was initially filed on October 9th. The outcome of the hearing remains undisclosed, so everything remained private. Everything remained private. It was like a hearing. It was not a public court case, just a private case. And the final amount, whatever they settled for, remained private. Angelina previously divulged her connections to witchcraft. She did speak about her connections to witchcraft, but she never claimed to have used it against someone else. And then you could probably say that her claiming to be involved with witchcraft was taken out of context, but here's her direct quote in response, and you guys make of it what you want to in the comments. I'm curious to read what you guys say. She said, and I quote, "Women could be accused of witchcraft for having an independent sex life, for speaking their mind on politics or religion, or for dressing differently." And this response was given to Elle magazine, okay, discussing witchcraft and noted throughout history, right? Women have been accused of witchcraft for expressing independence or defying social norms. She continues saying, "Had I lived in earlier times, I could have been burnt at the stake many times over for simply being myself," end quote. All right. So with that said, she said, hey, if I lived in different times, yeah, I would have been called a witch and they would have burnt me at the stake too for being myself. And she goes on to say in that same article, that interview, that she, loved being a wicked woman and rebellious because it means that you go against the grain. You speak up for people, and women that are well behaved and polite are rarely ever, the soft, good girl, good housewife, and goody two-shoes rarely make history. And she loves being a wicked woman. And throughout her whole career, Angelina, from her childhood, has been showing people that she's into dark things and she embraces it. And, she was a very troubled, disturbed youth. And in her adulthood, though she kind of mellowed out, you don't know what residual, what she's into. She's a pretty open person, okay? So she was into blood. She was into death. She wanted to work in a mortuary. She had a lot of things that, I don't know, comment below. But even more bizarre, or not, because it is Hollywood, is there has also been the Illuminated Ones allegation. I don't want to say the word here on YouTube because anytime somebody speaks about that society, you'll notice that there's a wiki disclaimer on the video of any YouTuber. Like, go put in the Illuminated Ones. Y'all can comment it in the comment section, but I'm not going to say it in the video. Go put it on YouTube search right now and click on any video talking about these societies that are a secret. And you'll see YouTube put a disclaimer from Wiki explaining that, no, this is what this, and then the video gets suppressed and you either lose monetization or they don't push it through the algorithm. And the only way the video would be able to gain traction is if every individual watching literally share it with somebody, but they don't really push videos saying anything about these things in the algorithm. So a lot of YouTubers, you notice, they're very careful with their wordings of things lately because they've been cracking down. And now, as of this date, whatever date you're watching it, this is what's currently happening, is our president currently has sued YouTube for 25 million, I believe, or 24. And he basically won that. And YouTube is going to pay him that, which, of course, is going to create a lot more censorship on many channels. So yeah, that's fun. And get ready for us walking on eggshells even more. But let's talk about this society that happens to be a secret with the allegations that are against her because of a resurfaced clip of her speaking of dark rituals that she had endured. According to the Daily Star UK, that's the source that I went with, the Laura Craft actress reportedly revealed all the details of the Hollywood Illuminated Ones rituals where people were tied up and tortured by the other members. The footage also shows Jolie explaining that people misunderstood it, the rituals, possibly relating to the sadomasochism, or S&M as they call it in the video. She adds that rather the members in the rituals are tied down because they need something to hold you down to keep you still, end quote. And I'm going to show you guys the video. One of Angelina's friends, you could hear her in the video, then comments, and I quote, "I don't know, I only saw the film she brought over that night," meaning someone came over and showed film of whatever was happening, whatever the ritual was. People who are like darker, and then she goes on to continue, this is the friend talking, and I quote, "People who are like darker like that, kind of, it's a great thing to be able to see everybody's sensuality. But it's so weird when I have like the most amazing compromising pictures of people and clip." I have to describe the video to you guys just in case I have to clip it out for YouTube for whatever reason later on down the line. But the friend is basically saying that, yeah, there was a lady that came in with the videos to show what happened there. And the friend is basically saying that it's cool to see people's sensuality, and I'm filtering the word, but people being in dark sensual things. And she said she has compromising pictures of people, and obviously they had compromising, it can be insinuated that they had compromising videos of people. And if you see my Diana Dors video and my video on Hollywood's rituals, I did a video on that, which I will pin in the comments for you guys so that you guys can go watch that, a video breaking down the sex magic in Hollywood. And it is 99.9% of their rituals involve physical intimacy, because that is what worshiping Astarte, Ishtar, all of those goddesses that are now in different names all across the globe, they all required you to be physically intimate with people. They had something in temples that people in temples that were paid to sleep with worshipers. I'm really filtering. I'll put the word on the screen. There's a temple that, so this is why they, all the rituals involve those things. And they'll have young people that are not yet of age there too, because the innocence of it all is like a sacrifice to those gods or those idols, which is very unfortunate. And of course, during those rituals, there's always secret cameras somewhere, people recording, taking pictures. If you've seen my rituals video, as well as my Diana Dors video breakdown that I did for her. She was known as the European Marilyn Monroe, right? But she used to host parties as gorgeous as she was and put people in compromising situation as blackmail, basically, the celebrities and politicians and world leaders. It was as blackmail, and she'd hold it over their head, give it to people that were even more powerful in these special societies. And that's how they got people to bend to their will and push their agendas, because they have this blackmail on you. And it always involved sensual intimacy. Like if they have video of you with a person that's not yet of age, and you're like 40 something and you're with somebody who's 9, yeah, you might want to walk on eggshells and tote the line and not get out of line, because if those are released, it's over for you. Like, how are you going to justify that, right? So, yeah, those are the type of compromising situations that would people go on.
He detailed the satanic abuse she suffered at the hands of her handlers during her 13-year conservatorship, including sickening sex rituals, weekly blood transfusions, and MK Ultra medical experiments. Britney isn't the only star to break down and provide us with a glimpse behind the curtain. Kanye West is following in the footsteps of Michael Jackson, Prince, and Muhammad Ali in exposing the vast control matrix employed by the entertainment industry. Late last year, Kanye made the startling claim that his mother was sacrificed as part of an blood ritual by the Hollywood elite, before naming other celebrities who have been victims of the entertainment industry for reneging on their deal with the devil. He also exposed Harley Pasternak, the Hollywood personal trainer to the stars, as an MK Ultra handler. Harley Pasternak, the so-called personal trainer who once got Kanye institutionalized and then threatened to do it again and have him drugged until he's in Zombieland and take his kids away, was previously a scientist at a PSYOP-orientated military research center whose work focused on drugs. For anyone interested in celebrity mind control and the power structures that rule over us, this is a rabbit hole worth going down. Make no mistake, the globalist elite have created a vast control structure to control the celebrities and public figures that are used to influence us. The ultimate goal is the enslavement of the human race. A stunning video has surfaced in which 23-year-old Angelina Jolie reveals the true inner workings of Hollywood as she describes to friends her experiences participating in secret party rituals. At times, Angelina looks crazed and possessed while describing the experiences she had with the secret society. She explains that she killed a snake as a sacrifice and was tattooed or branded as part of the initiation ritual. The tape also reveals that Jolie had previously shown a recording of an ritual to one of her friends. The video has now been posted online with the identity of her two friends redacted for their safety.
I would film things like that. I would encourage like everybody, all different types of sexual, but there is that thing where it's like a lot of people misunderstand me with S&M and they think it's super, and I have to like explain to people how, like, where it's more like you're tied down because you need to like be able to like have somebody hold you down and keep you still, or like you fight and that's something down, or like be able to heal once you're beaten like or something. It's like it comes from that real place of like, you know, as opposed to being accessories or something. It's like with tattoos and things. Like I've always gotten them. There's like that time where everybody's like, oh, I have tattoos, and after a while you're like, you can explain them and they can mean things. It's just it comes from that real place. Yeah, I don't know. I only saw that film she brought over that night. Most people were like darker, like that kind of, you know. But it's a great thing to be able to like see everybody's sexual, like just sexuality. But it's so weird when you just. I had like the most amazing.
Plant 3 total revolutions. 1, 2, 3. Ouch!
Like the twisting of a nipple or something?
Yeah, 3 full times.
I only saw that one she brought over that night though.
And then dripping candle wax on
my snake. I tried to. I had.
According to Illuminated Bot, just remove the aided. During the ritual, you are, and this is real rituals. This source is just describing what really happens in rituals because they expose those societies. So they're saying you are indeed tied up, and in your lower regions where you do the number 2, they torture that basically, you know, inserting things in there, torturing it basically, by all the other members that are assisting. That's when you're being initiated and all of those things. The pain, and this is a direct quote, the pain is often so intense, many participants quit midway through, end quote. So the user then explains inductees. So this is like where people, this, you know, source is people that remain anonymous that were in that lifestyle that came out and exposing. Okay. So the user then explains inductees are encouraged to introduce other members into the shadowy organization. All right. I did do a video also, which I'll pin in the comments, about the title is They Are Eating Children. Yeah, we talk about the dark underbelly of Hollywood as well. I will pin that in the comments if you haven't seen that as well. But those are 2 videos I think is the most important ones on this channel. If you have not seen those videos, I would highly check that you click on them and put them on your watch later. And then definitely watch both. It'll just make sense as we do these videos on these stars. You'll better understand, and we don't have to start from scratch all the time. As for the tattoos that Angelina got during this quote-unquote ritual, so the user, the inductee that was releasing all of the information stated, and this is a direct quote again, many members also get tattoos during the ritual to sacrifice more blood to Satan, end quote. But of course, Satan is not called Satan in these societies. He's called Lucifer, the bearer of light to mankind, because God, apparently Elohim, Yahweh, wanted to keep man in darkness, and Lucifer wanted to give man light. Therefore, God, Yahweh, is evil, and Lucifer is good. That's the belief. Okay? So we're going to leave that alone, and I'm curious to see your thoughts. Because this is crazy. This is crazy. Now, in terms of her political beliefs, Jolie is a registered independent, but her real concerns lie in aid and humanitarian work. And she is very deep into humanitarian. But there's been a lot of, again, those are things I don't want to say because there's no proof. This, like, blind items, the dark web, you'd say, where they're like, yeah, all that humanitarian working for the UN, anyone who kind of works for the UN, you always gotta like side eye a bit, you know. It's usually a front to do other things for these, you know. Who's gonna check them? Who's gonna check them? You work for the UN, you have access to unlimited underage people. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that. As far as her influence, she is highly known for being sensualized since the inception of her career. Her lips, her eyes, and sensual appeal has been making waves for decades. Even as a teen, people did not shy away from sensualizing her.
This footage of Angelina Jolie has never been seen before. She was 16 years old, already with her incredible mouth, and she wanted to become a model. She appears comfortable, feels wild, and we sense that she'd like to be provocative but doesn't yet dare. Sean McCall is a photographer who took the photos that day.
I've seen many, many, many faces over the years, and that was one that literally jumped off the page, and I said, wow.
Angelina is unpredictable. She makes the decisions, and she sets the tone. This is Mark Gordon's film. It is Angelina Jolie's first appearance on screen. At 17, she was already sultry, already incredible.
Angelina Jolie is at a modeling agency in Los Angeles. She's a young girl of 17, and she captivates myself and the director to the point where we fall in love with her instantly. And this is how Angelina Jolie was discovered. There was a lot of intelligence with her, which brought a mystery.
At not even 18 years old, Angelina landed her first role in a feature film, Cyborg.
When I first started auditioning, I tried to be the girl next door, and I would go to the audition and try to like.
Also, one thing with her influence in terms of her beauty, there was an era where everyone wanted Angelina Jolie's lips, her eyes to look like her. So they'll go to their plastic surgeons with her photo, and she was the blueprint for a lot of people and how they wanted to look, right? And the lip fillers was growing in popularity because of her as well. So a lot of people would give credit to like Kylie Jenner. But before there was a Kylie Jenner, in terms of influencing for fillers and stuff, like white person with full lips, because it was not always the norm, there was Angelina Jolie. Okay, she was, to me, even in my opinion, I thought there was no one as beautiful as her, right? She just she has the most beautiful smile. Like her smile literally lit up a room, especially when she had like the chubbier cheeks in her youth and stuff like that. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous smile. She's a gorgeous woman, and she has piercing eyes. And the mole on her eye, everything. There's not many faces that look like Angelina. The only other person I'd say that kind of have similar features and the smile and all that is Gia Korenji, which I did a video for Gia Korenji as well, which is in the end cards. And you know what? I'll pin that video in the comments also. So there's several, because she played Gia Korenji in the movie Gia. That's what she was saying. And Gia Korenji and Angelina Jolie looks a lot alike. Like they could have been sisters. So it was perfect casting. But Angelina does have a very unique face. There's not a lot of people in the industry that does look like her. Even if they do get plastic surgery, she has a very, very unique bone structure, etc. So the plastic surgery community had a boom with people just wanting to look like her. She also made being goth, dark, dangerous, and mysterious really cool. So many women were influenced by her obsession with death, blood, and knives and extreme darkness. It was kind of cool. And people like started sporting that. And you see people even in the industry was influenced by the whole Angelina Jolie effect. If you think of Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, with Megan Fox also had His Blood, you know, the same old weird thing that Angelina Jolie did with Billy Bob Thornton, she's done with Machine Gun Kelly, and the, you know, attempting to have that dark mystery, etc., like Angelina Jolie. You could say, is it the Angelina Jolie influence, or are these people just showing you what really goes behind the scenes, and they all do weird stuff like that? I don't know. The movie Gia has been stated to be one of those movies that was the epiphany for many women, that they might like girls. A lot of people watched it and was like, though it was a movie, you know, Gia Coringe's story was very tragic. She died really young from, you know, but the scenes, you know, Hollywood will always put scenes in there. They didn't have to. Okay, she liked women. That don't mean you have to show 1,000 scenes of her being, but you know, Hollywood. So a lot of young women were like, hey, I was open to this because of that. And, you know, Angelina Jolie was so hot in that movie. She played it so well and was enigmatic, etc. So that played a role in her influence as well. And Angelina coming out as bi also influenced many to explore, and many in Hollywood to come out of the closet themselves. She's also increased the popularity of doing charity work and being a humanitarian, etc. So a lot of people, again, wanted that Angelina Jolie type of experience. And then we noticed a lot of women in Hollywood stopped wanting to do just the romantic comedies, this and that. She was one of the people for this current generation that really started to remove the whole femme fatale, soft feminine woman from TV screens of like the 1940s and 50s and 60s. You know, more and more women. It was blaxploitation, of course, films that helped in that as well. And then you have people like Angelina Jolie that, oh, she's hot. Usually back in the day, if a woman was gorgeous, hot, and all that, she'd play just the femme fatale or comedy, romantic comedy, etc. But no, she was playing Laura Croft. She played, like, I loved the movie Salt and all these movies when I was really deep into watching movies, etc. I don't think there was ever a bad Angelina Jolie movie, and she always was really tough and made it really popular for women to take on those roles and not just be the pretty girl, but be layered in mystery. But she curated her image for that. She did not just want to be a model. She did not just want to be a pretty face. She wanted to really take the industry and be a powerhouse in that way. What are my final thoughts? I personally think she is a great person who has been traumatized by her famous family, her mother's lack of affection, but in her mind, you know, her mom was her hero, because every child needs someone to blame, and the parent that stuck around, yeah, you know, you're gonna them more as the hero than the one who was absent. But you know, if you go deeper into her childhood, she was very traumatized, and then later went into an industry that has no love, that's just gonna traumatize you further and introduce you to a lot. And her mom was eager to be famous and was a person that wanted to be famous herself, and her own mother, her grandmother, wanted fame, and they would do anything for fame. It didn't work out for them. You push it on your child, they're going to be open to more stuff, right? And Hollywood, I do believe, influenced a lot of the darkness that she was into and the pain, and you know, her family being in the spotlight really young. She was on the red carpets with her dad really, really young, you know, even before she was a star. So she was exposed to a lot, and we know kids that are exposed to those things do grow up traumatized. And did she ever really stand a chance? I'm very compassionate and patient with a lot of the stars we do breakdowns for, because I understand that for a lot of them, they were born into this, they were pushed into this, like someone like a Michael Jackson or this and that. And it's easy to be critical. Oh, look, they got a hand on their eye, all these people are wicked and this and that. Yeah, but it's like, man, what if you were born into it? You'd be just like them. And, you know, be patient. And maybe, you know, we don't know what life could do. A lot of people turn around, they realize there are ways, they start exposing these things, or they have a whole change in life. And there's been a lot of people that left the industry, whether they chose, I'll just die then, and they decide to die because they walked out of it. So just always be in compassion and know, for a lot of these people, they did not choose into, like, Angie was born into a famous family that was obsessed with fame. They were obsessed, both on her mom's part, her dad's part, and she is well versed in media trained, you know. So this was her life. This is all she knew. So of course she's going to be prone to a lot of the darkness that comes with the industry. And the industry, indeed, it's not a fairy tale. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. It's not any of those things. It's facts that the industry is dark and there's nothing good about it. It's wicked. And everyone who's in it, you know, you have to understand they play a role some way or somehow. Okay. But that's my final thoughts on it. Comment below your thoughts. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And there's a chance this video might reach some issues. So be sure to thumbs up and leave a comment and share to help us go through the algorithm. I will see you in the next one.